We can fulfill our calling by getting involved. Fulfill our calling by getting involved. Involved in what? As Edmund Burke said, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. An oft-quoted statement, it's not biblical, but it's true. It's one of those good and noble things that I think of, and it's very true as a maxim. The triumph of evil is a slam dunk when good men do not stop it. So the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. I'll give you a great example that occurred 60 years ago. President Kennedy and President Nixon. It is indisputable, and it was indisputable in 1960. In November of 1960, Richard Nixon, the entire apparatus of the leadership, they knew that John Kennedy and the Democrats had cheated in Chicago and in West Virginia. Talk about zombie voters. The dead did indeed vote in Cook County. Mayor Daley, the whole machine. Richard Nixon made the decision in 1960, even though he knew that the Democrats had cheated and that John Kennedy had not won fair and square, duly elected. Richard, and this is a matter of history, this is not my opinion, this is historical fact. Richard Nixon made the decision for the good of the nation not to fight and take John Kennedy to court. On that decision, that simple decision to be above it all, to be a gentleman, to roll over, not to fight, and to lose with dignity, even though there was chicanery, all that followed came. A decade of turmoil for the sake of division of the country. Nixon said, I won't fight. But yet there was division anyway. And who's to say that because of that one decision that Richard Nixon and the Republican Party made in the November of 1960, who's to say that because of that one decision, the 60s might not have been different? But because of that decision, not maybe all because, but contributing to, we had a decade of awful division and war and death and revolution in our streets. The 70s followed. It was a disaster, and we're still recovering from, like the butterfly effect. You know, butterfly flaps his wings here and across the world. There's a typhoon. I think from that one decision. So I'm all in favor of doing what Richard Nixon did not do 60 years ago. If there is known corruption, now is the time to get it out, because we still are living with it 60 years later. Same tricks, the same thing, because they got away with it. So if there's anything that they're getting away, maybe there's nothing. But if there is, now is the time. This is the moment to stand and to fight. Defend our republic. Defend our future. Let's once again recall the role of government. And again, when we speak of the government, we speak in America of ourselves. For rulers are not a cause of fear for good behavior, but for evil. Do you want to have no fear of authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from the same. I do not have confidence that if one party gets in, that which has gone unpunished thus far, the riots in the streets, the death, the destruction, the theft, the wickedness, the chaos, the anarchy, that will continue, that will remain unpunished. I have no confidence. It is a minister of God to you for good, and if you do what is evil, be afraid. Those who are doing evil, they must be afraid. If they're not afraid, there's something wrong with the government. For it does not bear the sword for nothing. It is a minister of God, an avenger who brings wrath on the one who practices evil. And because we are the government, and the people that we have above us represent us. It is up to us to ensure that the people in charge are punishing evil and rewarding that which is good. Woe to those who do not identify that which is evil and call it good. Therefore, it's necessary to be in subjection, not only because of wrath, but for conscience sake. Because of this, you also pay taxes. For rulers are servants of God, devoting themselves to this very thing. Devoting themselves to what? To carrying out the responsibilities. When is the last time that you felt that you were devoting yourself to the government of the United States? That's for the professionals. That's why you vote once every 2 years, right? You've done your job, let them do theirs. No. We are the government. We must devote ourselves to this very thing. We must render to all what is due, tax to whom tax is due, custom to whom custom, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. As Jesus said, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's and to God the things that are God's. That is easy to apply in a monarchy, in an empire like Rome, where the citizenry had nothing to do with the leadership of the country. We have a completely different form of government. We are a constitutional republic. We are the government. Submit yourselves to the Lord's sake, for the Lord's sake, to every human institution. That is government. So I urge you, in the words of the scripture, to submit yourselves for the Lord's sake to every human institution, whether to a king is the one in authority. In other words, to submit yourself to government and to your responsibility for the Lord's sake. Do it because you have a calling. Do it because it is your responsibility. If you do not want the responsibility of being a citizen in the republic, I suggest that you rescind your citizenship and move elsewhere. But as long as you're a citizen in America, as a believer, this is our calling. And whatever we do, and that includes submitting ourselves to government, do your work heartily. Don't hold your nose and say, I guess I have to protest. I guess I have to vote. I guess I have to be involved. I guess I better read down ballot and see who's running. Whatever you do, do your work heartily as to the Lord, for the Lord, rather than for man, knowing that from the Lord, you will receive the reward of your inheritance. It is the Lord Christ, our Mashiach, whom you serve. That means be a citizen in the United States as if you are serving God himself. You're not serving Trump. You're not serving Biden. You're not serving the Democrats. You're not serving the Republicans or the independents. You're serving the Lord himself when you involve yourself in your calling. Politics, what does it mean? We want to say politics has nothing to do with the church. The church is above politics. It's wrong for the minister. It's wrong for the church to speak out on politics. What does politics mean? It comes from the Greek politikos. It means of citizens. That's me, that's you. Pertaining to the state, it's where I live, and its administration. I vote for these guys. And sometimes maybe I'm running for one of these offices or I'm supporting it, right? Pertaining to public life. If you do not want your faith to wind up in a ghetto where it has nothing to say to our culture or our world, then keep your mouth shut about politics and keep your involvement to simply flipping the channels or reading the headlines and being that misinformed about what's going on. You are the government. We are the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And these people are believers who have a special calling to do unto the Lord what he calls us to do, and that's be involved. We talk at the water cooler. Can we talk politics? Well, we talk at the water cooler, or, well, we don't have a water cooler anymore during a pandemic, most of us, right? The virtual water cooler. Oh, how about that weather? Sure is hot. Wow, that's a very meaningful conversation to have for a believer. Oh my, how about those cowboys? Or how about, those cowboys? How about the NBA? How about we talk nonsense. We talk inanities. Let us talk that which actually pertains to our public life, because that which pertains to our public life directly impacts our private life. Shall the church allow politics to be compartmentalized into a biannual ghetto? See, you know what? Christmas comes once a year, and we take out our ornaments, and we take out our decorations, and it's Christmas time, and we put our albums on, our CDs or our whatever, MP3s, and we listen to our Christmas music, and we turn on radio, and it's all Christmas music. And when it's over, we pack up our ornaments, and we pack up our decorations, and we put it away for another year, and we don't think about it again until Walmart starts decorating, right, somewhere the day after Thanksgiving. Halloween, right? The fall, Thanksgiving. We don't think about this until we realize that, oh, it's time for trick-or-treat, and the kids are going to come in or come around, or we're going to have trunk-or-treat, or we're going to have kids come around our neighborhood, or we're going to do a fall harvest festival at a church or whatever. And then we buy our candy, and then the next day we buy all the candy that's on sale at Walmart, so we have a little stash for a little while. And then we put it all away, and all the pumpkins go away, and all the candy corn go away that's not stuck in the back of our teeth. We put our wreaths away, and we take out Christmas, and we forget about the fall until next year. And voting, oh, it's that time of year again. Actually, not every year. It only comes around twice or every 2 years. So we get all revved up for a little while. It's election season, and let's get excited about it. And then as soon as election day is over, we forget all about it until 2 years from now. We ghettoize our responsibility as Americans, and we limit it to voting as if we've discharged our responsibility every 2 years.